Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Bad Comic Review stream. How you guys doing? Let's see who's in the chat. Let's see. Hi, Retro. Hey, old guy. I'm doing okay. Hope you're doing well, too. Hey, Della. It's called a tactical retreat. Nah, it's called indifference and stupid. Hey, Shady. Hope you enjoy the stream later. Hey, Random. Hey, Twisted. How's it going, man? Hey, Evil One. Hey, Otho. Hey, Ginger. Hey, John. Hey, Roger. Hey, Frosted. Hey, Peter. Hey, Frosted. Heard you're sick, man. Hope you're feeling better. I'll do my best, Ginger. Hey, John. All right, you guys all know the drill. Hit the like button, share it on your social media, subscribe if you haven't, and ring that bell for notifications. If you're feeling generous, throw a couple bucks at the Streamlabs link pinned at the top of the chat. Thanks to Retro for providing that. Hey, Eagle. And I will be looking at these Streamlabs in between stories. So thank you all for coming out today. Bit of a scare, forgot I queued this up. Oh, that happens. No help on building that steel mill. Oh, sorry to hear that. Cold? Stop being sick then, Frosted. Hi, Donald. All right. Fair bit of news going on. Oh, you got a notification. Nice. So I've got about 15 articles or so, depending on what we can get through. So let's dive right in. We're going to start with some comic book news, some moving and shaking going on. Over at ICV2, Dark Horse promotes Kara O'Neill to Senior Director of Marketing. The company announced recently O'Neill joined the company in 2017 as Senior Manager of Social Media and Marketing Communications and was promoted in 2021 to Director of Marketing Communication. During her time at Dark Horse, she's expanded the company's social media footprint, probably not for the better, improved communications, and worked on digital advertising and promotional strategies. A number of high-profile titles, including Berserk, Avatar, Last Airbender, and The Umbrella Academy. She's got a master's in publishing. Why? Oh, okay. She's from Portland, so probably a dirty hippie. She comes in the wake of the departure of Matt Packinson, a 17-year Dark Horse veteran who was most recently Vice President of Marketing. He left the company earlier this month. Also, Mad Cave Studios hired 2 senior editors, Lauren McGrew Hitzhausen and Chaz Pangburn. Pangburn will be the lead editor for books in Mad Cave catalog. I didn't even know they were still around. While McGrew Hitzhausen will be the lead for the young adult imprint. Boom also promoted 3 editors within. Daphne Pleben is the new lead senior editor for Boom Box imprint, while Allison Gronowitz has been promoted to editor and Ramiro Portnoy to associate editor. So nothing too fancy there, just a little bit of moving around. Yeah, I never heard of a master's in publishing. I didn't know that was a real thing. Oh, nobody's here. Hi, nobody. How's it going, man? Hey, Lion Patriot. How's it going? So not a major shakeup. I didn't know Mad Cave was still around, though. Now, I don't remember if we talked about this last time, but I don't think we did. So let me actually check if this news broke after the last stream. Hopefully you can hear me okay. There's a train going by, though. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, this broke after the last stream. So, I don't know if you heard, but Netflix had some more layoffs. Netflix woke purge. This is from the Daily Mail, so this isn't like some rumor mill. Troubled streaming giant's latest layoffs targeted staff who were among its most vocal social justice warriors working on original content about marginalized communities. Oh my gosh, maybe that loss of 200,000 subscribers made them realize that some of the trash they're turning out isn't really good. This is from the 21st. They laid off 150 employees on Tuesday. That would have been like the 16th or something. Many of whom were working on creative and promoting projects focusing on marginalized communities. Firm additionally fired 70 employees working on its social media and publishing teams. We did talk about that. But now it's coming out that they were agenda-driven. Netflix recent axing of 290 staff targeted many of the firm's wokest workers who are prolific social justice warriors on social media, it has been claimed. The struggling streaming services pulled the plug on several projects that were aimed at discussing race and LGBTQ issues, Variety reported, and axed the diverse employees working on and promoting them. As we discussed last time, when you have a bunch of people that are hired for their melanin content and you fire people and there's layoffs, yeah, that's who's going to be fired, is the people that happen to be of that color, because that's who you hired, idiots. A total of 150 recruitment workers were fired, as well as another 70 animators and 70 contractors working on promotional material for the firm, including social media and publishing. Those promotional workers were assigned to work on Netflix projects Strong Black Lead, the Asian American focused Golden, the Latino focused Con Todo, and the LGBT focused Most. Those are weird names for things. Netflix claimed its layoffs were due to a slowdown in revenue and declining subscribers, but critics online say many of those given the boot were from minority groups, and others have speculated that the firings were part of a woke clear-out. They probably are part of a woke clear-out. Guess who all your troublemakers are? That constantly are crapping on your customers. Maybe it's related. Common Sense with Barry Weiss's weekly TGIF newsletter said the company framed the firings as layoffs, but 150 people doesn't really make a dent for a company of 11,000 people. Those 150 happen to include, just by chance, some of the most Twitter active social justice workers in the place. Yeah, it's almost like they're connected. The streamer found itself at odds with some woke staff who had gone on the record to slam their employer over shows they deem harmful, including Dave Chappelle's The Closer comedy special. Among the newly fired were Olivia Trufant Wong and Lydia Wang, who shared their upset on Twitter. Of course they did. They ran to Twitter and started whining. Hey, Louie. I was also laid off by Netflix today. Wang tweeted on Tuesday, I really loved my job and my colleagues. I'm a little heartbroken. Trufant Wong wrote on Tuesday, okay, yes, I am one of the tum-dum layoffs, LOL. I did a lot of work I'm proud of, met a lot of really awesome writers and editors, and made great friends. It's the cycle of media life. H. Drew Blackburn, another laid-off employee, recalled the turbulent saga where he did not know whether or not he had a job. So these are the two troublemakers. She looks like it. Warning sign. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Matt Akura, an animator for Bob's Burgers, also criticized Netflix for the layoffs while taking on other projects with wealthy backers. He tweeted, what a great day for Netflix to announce they're giving Ron Howard, a millionaire with no experience in animation, full control of an animated movie. Well, he is a director, so it's not that difficult. While simultaneously snuffing out projects specifically focusing on marginalized groups. Funny timing, huh? Maybe it's because Ron Howard has a lot of experience in name recognition, and your weird little cult film is going to have almost no viewership, no following, and a bunch of nobodies working on it. Weird. The firings come after Elon Musk claimed the firm's tanking share price was due to its content being infected by the woke mind virus. He's not wrong. Netflix is garbage, and they showed that Cutie's perv shit. Twitter wasn't part of the job. Yeah, it's not. And you drive customers away with that crap. You start rambling on your politics. If politics isn't part of your job, Your employer may not like it that you're out there alienating half the people that listen to you, if not more. It's going to be a streaming service crash, just like the .com crash of the 90s. I think you're right. There's too many people competing for the same dollars. And especially with the economic slowdown going on, there's just not enough money to go around. People are going to start tightening up, and that means they're going to cancel services that they're not using, or, because, I mean, realistically, like Disney Plus is the greatest example of this, because how much new content do they actually make? Like Obi-Wan Kenobi is the new thing. It's got 2 videos out, and maybe you go back and watch Moon Knight, but otherwise they really don't have that much new material coming out. Obi-Wan's going to appeal to some Star Wars fans and maybe some teenagers, but the other shows that are out that seem to be new are in a totally different age demographic. So you have like 1 or 2 shows for each demographic. That's not new material. So I can see Disney Plus's numbers being stalled because they just don't have any content out. And Netflix is suffering the same problem. If you're not really into woke material or documentaries, then there's really nothing there for you. And most of the shows seem to blow. I never got around to watching that Jupiter's Legacy. I heard good things about it, but Witcher is about the only thing on there that anybody seems to be talking about. Stranger Things, and people binge watch that and cancel. A lot of this other stuff, like that Big Mouth show, which was about teenagers talking to their junk, it's fucking creepy and weird. And then they have their own staff bitching about their content, like the Dave Chappelle show. So this doesn't really surprise me at all. But they did release that memo recently. In a memo to employees following the massive layoffs, Netflix had told their staff, as employees, we support the principle that Netflix offers a diversity of stories, even if we find some titles counter to our own personal values. Depending on your role, you may need to work on these titles you perceive to be harmful. If you find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the place for you. Yeah, because they've seen their numbers and they're like, look, we got to get these little crybabies in line and tell them to man up, or we're going to run out of money. They have to keep trying to get new content out there, and they have to do it in a reasonable budget. But when you have your own employees bad-mouthing you, that's not a good way to do things, and you should fire them. My wife watches and I can't get her to cancel. Oh, that sucks. Hey, Frank. Often afraid to start a Netflix show. They canceled too many on cliffhangers. Yeah. Why would you want to get invested in a show they're going to cancel after 1 season? They don't give anything a chance to thrive. You're exactly right, Frank. Hey, Mike. How you doing, man? So, yeah, it's not surprising that people are frustrated with this. And they need to start telling their employees to fucking suck it up or they're going to be out of jobs. These jobs aren't bad paying either. It's not like they're throwing chicken scratch at them. Netflix laying off the teams associated with making and promoting content for marginalized viewers. Yeah, well, that stuff doesn't sell. There is that new channel, All Black. It's owned by, I think, the Oprah Winfrey Network or Lifetime or some shit. Go over there and watch that. Maybe you can shop your shows over there. They're very low budget, but it's also a pretty niche market. So, here we go. Netflix hired a powerhouse team of creators from a variety of marginalized communities. They were performing exceptionally well. Had us all invested in their work. They were the first people they showed the door to at the first financial difficulty. If they were performing exceptionally well, they would not have been cut. You need people that are performing well at their jobs to maintain your success. So if they were doing well, they wouldn't have gotten fired. Let's be real. So this goes on for a while. I'll drop the link into chat. They did cancel this anti-racist baby show, which nobody should be giving this ass clown money. Hey, Spoonie, how's it going, man? Not many marginalized viewers, and they need to make money. Yeah. Most of the stuff is incredibly low market. It's not that it's black content, because that's got a market. BET, all black, that it's got a market for that. But this is even more than that. This is you're pandering to specific small groups of people. Hey Lester, how's it going, man? Yeah, pretty much. Not wrong, Louis. Headed off in the past before you go broke. Yeah, they've seen what's coming. Kickstarter did something similar a while back, even though they've kind of backpedaled on it. When the lockdowns first happened, they fired a whole bunch of the union people. And that was probably a good idea, because they got rid of a lot of wokesters then, too, as well as the union. Thank you, Retro, for that generous donation. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Everyone, don't forget to take a minute to remember our fallen. Absolutely. Thank you very much, man. So yeah, it's really sad how little people seem to remember our history in any way that's good. And then you get all these wokesters that bitch and moan about everything. So I'm glad Netflix is cleaning house. Maybe they can right the ship, but I think it's too late for them. They've got a reputation now. $10 more hours. Oh, good luck. I'll try and fill some of that. Ray Liotta, Goodfellas and Field of Dreams star, has died, 67 years old. Very underrated actor. Never quite got the recognition I think he deserved. Ray Liotta, the terrific actor whose career breakout came in 1990's Martin Scorsese's crime classic Goodfellas, after co-starring in Field of Dreams, has died. He was 67. Dateline hears that Liotta died in his sleep in the Dominican Republic, where he was shooting the film Dangerous Waters. We'll have more details when they come available. Liotta leaves behind a daughter, Carson. He was engaged to be married to J.C. Natilo. Hollywood and media deaths. There's a link there for more media deaths. That's depressing enough. Liotta was on a big resurgence recently, including The Many Saints of Newark, Marriage Story, for which he shared a 2020 Ensemble Indie Spirit Award, and Steven Soderbergh's No Sudden Move. He finished the Elizabeth Banks-directed Cocaine Bear and was due to star in the working title film The Substance, opposite Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. He was recently set to executive produce the A&E documentary Five Families, about the dramatic rise and fall of the New York mafias, Genovese's Gambino, can't read, Bonono, Colombo, and Lucchese families. I'm pretty sure I didn't pronounce any of those correctly. Well, better known for his big screen roles, he also starred with Taron Eger in the Apple TV series Blackbird. I heard that was pretty good. Reoccurred on Prime Video's Hannah. Fronted the 2006 CBS crime drama Smith. Never heard of that one. Starred opposite Jennifer Lopez, who, according to rumor, has taco-flavored kisses. And then 2016-2018 police drama Shades of Blue. Liotta won a Primetime Emmy in 2005 for his guest stint on ER, and was a two-time SAG Award nominee for the 2015 miniseries Texas Rising and 1998 telefilm The Rat Pack, in which he starred as Frank Sinatra, opposite Don Cheadle, Joe Mantegna, and Angus McFadden. That's a really good cast. So, yeah, it's a real shame. He's been in a ton of movies, a lot of them very good, especially Goodfellas and Field of Dreams. No Escape was really, really good. A real good low-budget movie. Operation Dumbo Drop. My nephew saw that when he was a real little kid. He loved that. Copland is a very underrated movie. If you haven't seen Copland and you want some, like, almost mafia-style movie, but with cops, it's really, really good. Sylvester Stallone's in that. It really shows Stallone can actually act. Hey, TOS, how's it going, man? So, yeah, he's been in some really great stuff. Yeah, he was in Ridley Scott's Hannibal, the Silence of the Lambs sequel. He was in Narc with Jason Patric. John Q sucked balls. That's one of Denzel's most awful movies. It's why I hated Denzel for decades, literally. Identity was okay. It was very predictable, but it was an okay film. Smoking Aces, that was kind of stupid. The B movie, I never saw that one. I think it was playing once and I was asleep. Place Beyond the Pines, I've heard was good. Killing Them Softly wasn't bad. So yeah, it's a real shame. He's pretty young, 67. So rest in peace, Ray Liotta. Semi-high on pain pills. Well, be careful. Don't get hurt. They'll make you pee in a cup. If you build it, Ray Liotta will come. That's disturbing. Smoking Aces was great. It was a fun popcorn film, but not really for me. The sequel was really dumb. Hey, Atheist, how's it going, man? You got a big question? You shut your whore mouth. Yeah, maybe. Eventually. What's your big question, Otho? Is it a physically large question? Will it fit in chat? These are mysteries I need to know the answer to. Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. Yeah. If I was more of a baseball fan, I probably would have liked that one more. No. Not with your bare hand. Put a glove on. Get a dish glove and then throw the whole thing away, and then you don't have to have poo water on your hand. And don't use that deodorant anymore. There you go. There's your advice. It's free, so take it for what you paid for it. All right. Bounding into Comics is reporting Disney Plus uses drag queens to promote and fund LGBTQ curriculum in public schools. It's really starting to look like Disney is run by groomers. It really is. They were opposed to the bill telling schools they can't discuss sex ed with kids under third grade, and they were all upset about that. They had somebody get busted for kiddie porn a while back, and now they're doing this. It's starting to look kind of weird. Disney's really freaking me out lately. The agenda becomes as clear as day when you follow the money trail. Ever since publicly taking a stand against the state of Florida, it's Governor Ron DeSantis and the parental rights and education law. Why do they not like parental rights? That bans the teaching of gender identity and transgender ideology to children in kindergarten through third grade. The tentacles of the LGBTQ lobby over the Walt Disney Company have revealed a deep-seated agenda to get as much access to children as possible. It really does look that way. So Jacob Smith, you may be onto something here. Earlier this month, it was uncovered that a portion of sales expected from Disney's upcoming 2022 Pride merch collection will be donated to GLSEN, pronounced Glisten, a lobbying firm with the goal of pushing an LGBTQ curriculum in the United States public school system. In 2020, Disney donated $100,000 to Glisten in support of their work as part of that year's Pride Month. It's a lot of money for 1 month. School advocacy groups, Parents Defending Education, reports on their website that Glisten's work has directly influenced teacher trainings, school policy guides, and curriculum across schools nationwide. There's a link there. I'll drop this in the chat in a minute. Last year, Disney used Disney Plus special called This Is Me, a gay pride special, to encourage kids to support the gay and transgender activist group Glisten. Wow, it's almost like they're using their paid subscription service as an advertising platform. This Is Me featured an assortment of drag queen performers as well as other gender non-conforming celebrities. The show offered performances of popular Disney songs reimagined with LGBTQ themes. During the special, Andrew Levitt, aka Nina West, encouraged viewers to support Glisten, stating that Disney Plus is so proud to support this wonderful organization before directing viewers to the organizer's official site. Did they say how to get your mom's credit card out of her purse too? Glisten was founded by Kevin Jennings, who is a former Obama administration official that served under the U.S. Department of Education. That's not terrifying at all. Listed executive director Melanie Willingham Jaggers was one of the many progressive voices who condemned Disney CEO Bob Chapek for his initial decision to remain silent over Florida's passing of the Parental Rights and Education Bill, which has since been enshrined into law. Quote, "We have no expectation that those who partner with us would not work against us, but the silence against this hateful bill from Disney CEO Bob Chapek until public pressure forced a reaction speaks volumes, and we are angry and deeply disappointed," end quote, she said. In January 2022, William Jaggers told NBC News that she sees schools as a breeding ground for activism. Oh my gosh. LGBTQ plus young people in schools and their student groups like GSA have always been the hub, kind of the breeding ground, the soil from which these sparks of activism come up, she said. What we understand is that young people are going to help us understand the vision forward and the way forward to the future and beyond, probably. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. That stupid thing again. Disney's stock price has tumbled 29% in 2022 from $155 to $109 as of Friday. The fall is largely by the corporation's drive into progressive left-wing politics and concerns that the company's multiple streaming services, ESPN+, Hulu, and Disney+, could be losing ground in the face of record inflation hurting Americans' wallets, like I talked about a minute ago. But also because the more they push this shit, the less people want to pay for it. And with the park prices going way up, why would I want to give them any money at all? Like, you're charging an arm and a leg to go to a place that hates you, is crapping all over everything you liked, like Star Wars and the Marvel stuff. So why would I want to give them an exorbitant amount of money, especially when times are tough? So fuck these people. Disney has a fetish. I would say a perversity, but, you know, not that much different. That hidden camera crap that came out, I believe it. It wouldn't surprise me. Whoopi Goldberg, gross. She's all fat now, too. She was never very good looking. Tentacles, hentai's involved now? Probably. State takes over police and at Disney lookout. Yeah, they're going to have some conflicts with the state, I think, over like the policing and fire departments and stuff like that. Well, you know, there's some mints for that, Otho. They believe themselves morally correct, won't accept any disagreement. We are considered wrong. Absolutely. And their minds are closed. They're not open to changing. Disney's dead to me has been like most Major League sports. Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. So much of our entertainment is total garbage now. Sports has become very political. Disney's become very political. All their subsidies are very, very political. And they seem to really hate men. They seem to hate straight people. They don't seem to like white people. And they're not too fond of a lot of other things, from what I can tell either, including the legacy characters that made them lots of money in the past. They want to change everything, and it seems very, there's a word for it. What is it? Oh, yeah, communistic. But there is a slight bright spot of good news. What was the last great animated Disney movie? Dude, I don't even know. I'm not a big Disney watcher to begin with. Last good animated one, though? Sheesh. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. It was probably 20 years ago, though. Probably more. That's the other problem, too, is their quality has gone way down as they got more woke. Because they're focused more on these agenda things than they are good storytelling. I mean, they seem to farm everything out to Pixar. Oh, on a slightly bright spot from Cosmic Book News, Henry Cavill could return as Superman as J.J. Abrams' Warner Brothers deal gets reevaluated. Yeah, hopefully they're going to fire Abrams because he sucks. and they'll keep Cavill as Superman. But we have other super news here coming up in a second. Cross your fingers, Henry Cavill Superman fans, as Warner Brothers Discovery may be here to save the day. It looks like I hit a nail on the head once again as I learned that J.J. Abrams' Warner Brothers deal is getting reevaluated and going under the microscope as a result of the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, which might mean good news for Henry Cavill as Superman, which seems to sync up with the following news how Bad Robot is under scrutiny by Warner Brothers Discovery. Who wrote this? Matt McGloin. Something like that. I don't fucking know. Recall how I pointed out that when Discovery cleaned house at Warner Brothers, it included the ouster of Ann Sarnoff, the chair and CEO of Warner Media Studios and Networks Group, where I said that was part of the Abrams Warner Brothers deal he signed back in 2019, that Abrams' producer wife, Katie McGrath, was responsible for getting Ann Sarnoff named as the new chair CEO of Warner Brothers, which followed that Kevin Suhari sex scandal, as Abrams and his wife wouldn't sign with Warner Brothers if Kevin Suhari was still there. So Sarnoff was named as the first female in Warner Brothers history to hold the title and make Abrams and his wife happy. Was also told that as part of Abrams signing the Warner Brothers deal that he would tackle Superman, and we now know Abrams is developing a Superman project with Ta-Nehisi Coates. However, that was all previous to the Warner Brothers Discovery merger. Hopefully that project is done, because Ta-Nehisi Coates writing Superman is one of the most vile, horrific things you can think of. Talk about rewriting everything into a bunch of like screw whitey nonsense. Well, Sarnoff is gone, and now it is reported that the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, whose decision-making has been pretty brutal but seemingly on point so far, is scrutinizing every aspect of the Abrams deal they took over, previously said to be worth $500 million or more. The info comes about as a result of it. Nice sentence. Abrams' sci-fi series Demi Mode has hit a major roadblock at HBO, according to Deadline, as major budget issues are threatening to derail the project, which is reportedly costing more than $200 million to make. It said Warner Brothers Television and HBO have been trying to rein in the costs, but that Abrams' Bad Robot production company would not agree to a reduction below that. Deadline further reports that in addition to the current talks between WB and Abrams about Demi Mode, that we hear a broader discussion about Bad Robot's deals expected amid a big, across-the-board close examination of Warner Media's businesses by Warner Brothers Discovery CEO. Yeah, is this even financially worthwhile? It is mentioned that Zaslav has a good relationship with Abrams and is said to be in regular communication with Abrams, where it is also said Zaslav and his team are committed to staying in the Abrams business. So the article reports that Abrams' deal may get restructured to take into account how the economic environment is different now than when Abrams first signed the deal back in 2019. Update. The Hollywood Reporter adds, sources say DC Comics properties may have also come under the spotlight. Sources suggest there's some frustration within the halls of Warner Brothers Discovery that Abrams has laid claim to a number of DC characters, but has yet to get anything on the air. So he's like, this is mine, none of you can do anything with this. That would probably include Superman. And that would be a big no-no, since Superman is a massive property that they're going to want to capitalize on. And Henry Cavill has a good look for the part. Since Rescue Rangers Down Under, that's pretty fair. Fire Abrams. Yeah, I would. These dog shit writers and directors. It seems to be the plan. It points, yeah, Coates, you're not wrong, nobody. Coates hates everything. He seems like a very angry person that probably needs some therapy to work through whatever weird issues he's got going on. Because he just comes off, I've read a lot of his writings. I read his book, and I've read some of his Atlantic articles, and he is just, seems like a very bitter human being. I don't know what his life went wrong, but he seems to blame a lot of different people for it. And there's not a lot of responsibility taking there for his own life. Hey, Costin, how's it going? While that article didn't specifically mention Superman, recently saw it reported that Ta-Nehisi Coates handed in a version of his and Abrams' Superman movie, which leaves the door open for Henry Cavill to return and stars Superman, which suggests the newly formed Warner Brothers Discovery merger and Zaslav could be behind the changes. As Zaslav seems to be all about quality content, making money, and making fans happy. Those are the two important things. Making money and making fans happy. Fans are very, very loyal. Look at all the Star Wars apologists. Even the people that hate the new Star Wars stuff are the first ones at the stupid theater to see it, which I don't understand at all because I gave up a while ago. But if you make the fans happy, they will buy your merchandise. They will come see sequels. They will get their kids involved. There are generations, literally 3 generations now, of people that could have seen the Star Wars movies. People my age have grandkids and will have introduced Star Wars to their kids. Same with Superman. Same with Batman. People pass that stuff on because they love it. And people don't do that if they hate your merchandise. And the content they're putting out has to be good. Anyway, back to the article. And it's been reported Zaslav believes that several top-shelf characters such as Superman have been left to languish and need to be revitalized. He's not wrong. They need to get back to superheroes being fun and aimed at middle schoolers effectively. Because the DC superheroes are archetypes. I've discussed this several times. They're mythological archetypes, and they have to be aimed at younger people because that's where it works best. You can make adult content too, don't get me wrong, but they work best when they're aimed at like middle school, high school, and you can even do some animated stuff. Like Batman the Animated Series could appeal to 5th grade and up. And it really had a strong following in high school and college kids. What are the changes? It's been reported that J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates' Superman movie will be about a black Superman, even a period piece that sounds like a replacement for the Christopher Reeve and Richard Donner version, where the trades even reported Abrams won't be directing because he's not a POC. But recent talk surrounding the flick seems to offer there have been big changes, and again, it's said Coates' script could see Henry Cavill as Superman in the movie, which it should be noted Cavill has found massive success with his Netflix series The Witcher, and the actor is even speculated to be playing the new James Bond. So why get rid of such a high-quality asset? Well, I think if he takes a look at a Ta-Nehisi Coates script, he's not going to want to do the movie. It's also known Cavill and his Mission Impossible director Chris McGuire pitched WB a Superman Man of Steel 2 movie, but Warner Brothers shot it down, thought to be because of Abrams' deal. But we now see that that deal is under scrutiny, and it's been said Coates' script leaves the door open for Cavill. I bet they've got 4 or 5 different people rewriting that Coates script. He's probably going to get all the credit for it, but they've got people changing stuff. Worth a mention is that Abrams happens to produce the Mission Impossible movies at Paramount, so it won't be something if Zaslav brings back McGuire to direct the return of Henry Cavill's Superman in a new movie produced by Abrams. That's a possibility, but I doubt it. It's also been rumored that Abrams' Zatanna is in danger of getting ditched. So with Abrams and Bad Robot getting reevaluated, Demi-Mode's potentially getting canceled at HBO, the Superman script getting changed, along with Zaslav overhauling DC, and potentially leaving the door open for Cavill, we could see Warner Brothers Discovery house cleaning continues. Hopefully it all works out. I have a feeling that they're going to either ditch that Ta-Nehisi Coates movie or they're going to gut the budget. It's going to, because they know it's going to be a turd, and they're going to dump it on HBO Max. And if they're smart, they're not going to have Cavill in it because it's going to be crap. Because J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates is a recipe for failure. I just want fun entertainment again. Should people like this stream? Should people share the stream on Twitch or on Twitter, which is evil? Yes, they should. They should absolutely do that. You need to have some bright, shining light in the darkness that is Twitter. So like, share, and subscribe. Hope they bring back Superman old film. Yeah, I do too, Otho. Gave up on Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who. This millennium sucks. Agreed. That everything that's being touched is turning to shit. Because these woke commie ideologues are in there. It's really, really frustrating. Superman doesn't have to be aimed at middle schoolers. Just don't aim it at the kid who cuts himself behind the bleachers. Yeah, that's fair, Frosted, but they're historically their success has laid with younger viewers because Superman is such a power fantasy. And since they don't really seem to know how to write Superman anymore as like this, because they don't understand good versus evil. And you can't have somebody that's effectively a giant Boy Scout who smiles all the time and fights bad guys. They can't grasp that concept. They also can't grasp secret identities, so they're not real sharp. So having somebody that goes around and fights bad guys is a mystery to them. You have to understand the bad guys. Everybody's just one bad day away from being evil. Ugh. It is too late for Nick Cage to play Superman, thankfully. Got alien orbs speaking in my head. Oh, you should be careful about that. Making Superman black for no reason is stupid. It's very stupid. It really is. And hi. But like was said a moment ago by Mr. Costin, like, share, subscribe, donate if you can, and subscribe if you haven't, and hit that like button. All right. In a little bit of somewhat better news from ICV2, DC is making an omnibus of Mark Waid's The Flash. First hardcover volume is over 1,000 pages. Now, Mark Waid's Wally West run was one of the best Flash runs ever. I haven't read it in like 20-some years, but I bought that religiously. I loved that Flash series from when William Menzer-Loeb was writing it at the beginning, post-Crisis. That was one of my favorite books for a long time. And then I kind of fell out because it really didn't show up on our newsstand anymore. But when Mark Waid took over, I grabbed it up because he was off of his Captain America run by then, if I remember correctly. And I liked a lot of Mark Waid's stuff. At that time, he was a really good writer. So this looks pretty freaking awesome. DC will collect Mark Waid's run on The Flash into hardcover omnibus volumes, starting with The Flash by Mark Waid Omnibus Volume 1. Original naming there, guys. Featuring art by Mark Waringago, Greg LaRocque, and others, with cover by whatever his name is. The 1,088-page tome starts with the freak accident that transformed Wally West into the Flash and follows him as he masters his powers and takes on an array of criminals, terrorists, and supervillains. It collects Flash 62 through 91, Annual 4 through 6, Green Lantern 30, 31, and 40, and the Flash Special number 1, and Justice League Quarterly number 10. Set to release November 1st with a price of $150. With the paper shortages and the rise in prices on everything, it'll probably be $200. But I would love to get that. That would absolutely be worth it. So, really nice omnibus, over 1,000 pages for currently $150. I'm excited about that. Should be pretty cool. Because the new stuff isn't selling. Absolutely, Eagle. Yeah, it's very, very expensive, but it'd probably cost you about that much to track those single issues down. So it doesn't really surprise me too much. I got another Flash article. Let's do that quick as soon as I find it. Got some Doctor Who stuff coming up too. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention this. There's a Kickstarter going that I think looks pretty fun. Very controversial figure out there in the internet tubes. It's Captain Galaxy by the Comic Book Hut. It's his first comic book. It's about a pregnant whale that is coming to Earth to have a baby. And it's not supposed to come to Earth to have a baby, but it's up to Captain Galaxy to prevent it, or the planet will be destroyed. I thought the premise sounded fun. I kind of like his art style. I know it's not for everyone, obviously, but I thought it looked kind of cool. I backed it. So, yep. Wasn't going to show everybody that part, but I thought it looked pretty cool. So if it's something you might be interested in, check it out. See what you think. I don't generally like showing people what I back. Oh, yeah, it's not going to be for everybody, Eagle. But I like indie stuff, and that's the only place you're going to find anything good. We won't make our Kickstarter, but we're working on issue 2. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Drop your link if it's still out there, if the Kickstarter's still going, because you should absolutely back Grisella. It's a space whale, Peter, not a normal one. Are you kidding? Oh, Jesus. That's funny. That should be kind of the name of this show. Are you kidding me? Thank you, Circa Zero, who says, hello, Jack and chat people. How's it going, Cirque? So I'm sorry you're not making your goal, dude, but don't give up. And let us know if it's going to be in one of the online services like drive-through comics or anything like that, so we can get the word out. All right, so Margaret Atwood, we'll cover in a second here. Forgot to shut my screen share off. I'm smart. Oh my God. I'm really bad at this. Thanks again, Cirque, for the donation, man. That was nice of you. All right, over at CBR, Flash Fact, an unnamed 2023 superhero film, has run through 45 writers. A high-profile 2023 comic book film speculated to be The Flash has had 45 different writers involved in its script. How could that possibly go wrong? I could burn and have a forge. Jeez, that's dark. An unnamed comic book movie set to bow next year reportedly had no fewer than 45 writers contribute to its script. You know you have problems if you have 45 freaking writers. While nothing has been confirmed, evidence points to the movie being the upcoming DC movie The Flash. As reported by Deadline, a high-profile comic book film slated for its release in 2023 recently had its final script submitted to the Writers Guild of America for screenwriting credit. According to insiders, 45 writers were involved with the script at some point or another during development. That is ridiculous. One source claims that all 45 writers actually being credited is basically impossible. Deadline also explains these days, having as many as 20 writers involved in a script has become all too common, not to mention frustrating to the original writers. That is ridiculously high. Ridiculous. Directed by Andy something or other and starring Ezra Miller. As main protagonist Barry Allen, The Flash is scheduled to release in theaters on June 23rd, 2023. Officially, the film's screenplay is written by Christina Hodson, Birds of Prey. We all know what a raging success that movie was. Too many cooks. Yep. Threatened all their lives. Yeah, probably. Maybe choke slam some of them. It sounds like he was a real drama queen on set, too. So, 45 times they each get a scene. That'd be funny. At least that would make sense. I'm home, so time to spend time with the wifey. Oh, cool, man. Have fun. Ugh, ridiculous. The Birds of Prey writer. No wonder they had to do a bunch of rewrites. A story by John Francis Daly, Jonathan Goldsmith, and Joby Harold. However, numerous writers and directors have all been involved in the project since it first entered active development almost 10 years ago in 2014. In 2015, the duo of Phil Lord and Christopher Miller were attached to write story treatment for The Flash, with an option to direct. However, Lord and Miller departed the project in favor of working on Lucasfilm's Solo, a Star Wars story. That went well, I'm sure. With Seth Grahame-Smith being tapped to write and direct a version of The Flash based on their story. Grahame-Smith himself departed the DC project in 2016. The Warner Brothers opted to retain his version of the script. Okay. That's a decent start at least, right? Nope. Later in 2016, Rick Famuyiwa, Graham Smith's replacement as director, completed a revision of the script. What's-His-Face departed the project by the end of that year. In early 2017, the aforementioned Joby Harold was brought on board to do a page one rewrite of The Flash. Dan Mazieu later made his own contribution to the script. By January 2018, Warner Brothers was eyeing the duo of John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein to write and direct The Flash. In 2019, however, the film star Ezra Miller was revealed to be writing a new version of the script alongside Grant Morrison. There's a team up. And not a gender between them. They're both non-binary. Warner Brothers ultimately rejected Miller and Morrison's script, with Daly and Goldstein departing the project not long after. It's at this point that Hodgson was enlisted to write the screenplay, with Daly, Goldstein, and Harold receiving story credits. While that doesn't account for all 45 writers if the deadline piece is indeed referring to The Flash, which it likely is, the DCEU film has certainly changed hands a lot since entering development nearly a decade ago, thus making it stand out among other high-profile comic book movies due for release in 2023. Fellow upcoming DCEU film Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the sequel to 2018's Aquaman, written by David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick from a story by himself and starred Jason Momoa. Momoa pitched the story for the sequel while the first Aquaman was still in production, with Johnson McGoldrick, who co-wrote the first film, signing on to script The Lost Kingdom not long after. It's likely not that one, but The Flash does look pretty freaking likely. On the Marvel side of things, all three Marvel Cinematic Universe films slated for release in 2023 currently have one credited screenwriter each. That doesn't mean a whole lot. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is written by Jeff Loveness. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, written and directed by James Gunn, and The Marvels, written by Megan McDonnell. Meanwhile, Sony's live-action Marvel spin-off film, Kraven the Hunter, currently has 3 credited screenwriters. Also, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse has 3 writers, which include Lord and Miller, as well as David Kellum. This movie's supposed to come out in June. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're probably going to have to dump this on HBO Max, because this is going to be terrible. Momoa, I know how it's pronounced. He's Jason Momoa. Mimosa's a drink? Yeah, which is why Polly was constantly throwing Maker's Mark bottles in his yard. Bury the project and start over? Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Hazmat, how's it going, man? Throw it in the trash and start over? Yeah, you would think they would probably just cut their losses at some point, but that's the problem with Hollywood, is they always double down. They're too stupid to know when to walk away and know when to run. Just like a battered wife syndrome relationship. How hard could it be? It's a comic book movie. You'd be surprised how much they overanalyze this crap. It's like why we always get origin stories. They always have to have an origin. Let's redo the origin yet again. Let's not, huh? Let's not. Aquaman wasn't that good to me. I thought it was better than Black Panther, which is basically the same movie. But I liked the Aquaman movie much better than Black Panther, especially because he rode a seahorse. And they showed the little ring things when he used his powers. That was really cool. It was a cartoon. That's why I liked it. Because I'm a child. Kraven the Hunter has to be my least favorite Spider-Man. I'd rather see the Rhino in the Flowers of Algernon movie. I would watch that, Ori. I absolutely would. Better CGI than Black Panther. That's very true. If you have to have the origin, do it a quick flashback. That's what I've always said, Roger. If you can't do the origin story by the end of the opening credits, you've done it wrong. Comic book origins are not that complicated. Ridiculous. All right, Margaret Atwood auctions off unburnable copy of Handmaid's Tale for charity. Look, an old lady with a flamethrower. Under normal circumstances, that could be cool. Flame-resistant copy, not fireproof, flame-resistant copy of Margaret Atwood's bestseller, The Handmaid's Tale, is being auctioned off at $40,000 for a charity that benefits free speech. Margaret Atwood is fighting back against banned books in a fiery way. What books are currently banned? Her most famous work was auctioned off in an unburnable form. You didn't say unburnable, you said fire-resistant up here, you assholes. The fireproof copy of The Handmaid's Tale was printed on flame-resistant material and boasted a flame-retardant cover as well as stainless steel head and tail bands, reported MSN. The book was sewn together with nickel wire, making the sturdiest part of it safe up to a heat of 2,790 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not fireproof. You're just going to have to throw it in. Somebody, some brave little person is going to have to take this up and throw it into Mount St. Helens. Some very brave person. If I bought it, that's what I'd do with it. I'd take it and throw it in the lava. To promote the auction of the book and demonstrate its capabilities, Penguin Random House, the book publishers, I'd do it for comedy value, not to burn a book. Released a video of Atwood using a flamethrower on the book, which is unaffected. The auction house Sotheby's expected the book to go for between $10,000 and $50,000, and it was sold this week for $40,000, with the proceeds going to PEN America, a nonprofit that works on protecting free speech. Probably not everybody's, but some. The Handmaid's Tale, originally released in 1985, is a dystopian novel about women living under a patriarchal, totalitarian government in the future United States known as the Republic of Gilead. The story follows one of these women, known only as Offred, as she yearns for freedom from her life of forced service and pregnancy. Since its publishing, The Handmaid's Tale has been a frequent target for censorship in the U.S. It's not that well written. I've read it. It's okay. I've read better dystopian fiction. It was a little too girly for me. It should have been a much darker book than it was. Banned books have been a hot topic in America for decades. PEN American recently released a report detailing 1,586 instances of school districts banning books between July 2021 and March 2022. Now, are they banning them, or are they saying these aren't age appropriate? Because those are different things. These bans reportedly target works that discuss racism as well as sexual orientation and gender. Oh, you mean like that graphic novel that showed actual oral sex between an adult and a child? Yeah, crazy that they won't want that in schools. Weird. According to PEN American, 19 states in the U.S. have enacted laws or passed executive orders that limit subjects being taught in the classroom. Not everything is appropriate for children, you perverts. Even though the majority of Americans disagree with school book bans, they continue to happen. That's not exactly what that stat reflects. It reflects saying you can have it in the library, but not in the classroom being forced on kids. That's generally the attitude of most people. In a recent Reading Rainbow parody, host LeVar Burton encouraged watchers to read banned books. Okay. Weird, but okay. This video came on the heels of the Pulitzer Prize-winning graphic novel Mouse being banned unanimously by a Tennessee school board. That's a lie. It was not banned. It was deemed inappropriate for the age group it was being taught to because of nudity and adult themes. So, a middle schooler reading Mouse, probably not appropriate, but it is appropriate for high school. So they left it in the library but took it off the course and switched it with another book. They didn't stop people from learning about the Holocaust. They didn't ban the book. It's still in the school library. In an effort to subvert the ruling, people offered to send the book for free to anyone in the area. Okay, you want to waste money, go ahead. Kids aren't going to read something they don't have to read most of the time. Additionally, the press surrounding the ban led to increased sales for the book and launched it to #1 on Amazon. Tennessee cannot ban everything off Amazon, you stupid fucks. Oh, I'm going to buy a copy of that. All right. It's not as good as everybody makes it out to be. There's better books on the Holocaust for kids. Let's be real. Could not be renamed your future under the Taliban. Look, maybe. I don't know. Oh, have a good one, Angela. Thanks for dropping in. Hey, comment gave you. Yes, origin stories should just be a clip shown at the beginning of movies. Then most people are stupid. and don't see that at all. Yeah, but you have to have higher standards for people, or they'll never get any smarter because they won't be forced to. Most of these cases are age appropriate. Absolutely, Eagle, but they gotta gloss over that. Manga? There's some manga in school libraries, but not a lot. So LeVar Burton told everyone to read Mein Kampf. No, Peter. In fact, he did nothing of the sort. And I don't think he encouraged people to read Huck Finn, which drops the N-bomb a lot. My Forge laughs at your book, right? Link to see it take on Dr. Carolyn on that banned books crap. Yeah, the banned book thing really pisses me off. Just because they're not teaching something you want them to teach doesn't make it a banned book. Also doesn't make it age appropriate magically. One thing that really does piss me off, though, is when they substitute things. There are copies out there of Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer where they censored out the N-word and substituted it with something else or just edited out sections. That is, to me, way more egregious than saying this is not appropriate for this age group. There was Inuyasha in my middle school library that definitely wasn't age appropriate. Yeah, they have a habit of doing that. Librarians are some of the most subversive people around. Hey, Keeper Dam, how's it going? But yeah, LeVar Burton, Mein Kampf and the Bible have both been censored in various regions. So maybe he was advising people to read those banned books. I don't know. Kind of strange of LeVar Burton to suggest that German folk read that really tiny mustache man's book. What do you mean you want to ban the Kama Sutra? Yeah, that's like the. I'm surprised there isn't a Kama Sutra for teachers out there because the way things are going, that wouldn't surprise me. Dad didn't want me reading Penthouse Forum doesn't mean it's banned. Absolutely. Yeah, the grooming library. See, when I first read Huck Finn, it was one of my favorite books for years. Yeah, because it's an adventure book, and kids love adventure. Yeah, there's some naughty words in there. Life's hard. I was a huge fan of Penthouse Forum. I was too. Still kind of am. So that's what's going on. Margaret Atwood selling off her stupid, allegedly fireproof book. But in the realm of other things nobody needed, Cosmic Book News is reporting Willow trailer and premiere date announced for Disney Plus. Because they needed a sequel to this 30 years late for some reason. I did like Willow, don't get me wrong. It's a fun movie. Val Kilmer was great in it. But does it need a sequel? Lucasfilm has released the Willow trailer and announced the release date with the release of the first look. Release shouldn't be that close together. First images featuring Warwick Davis back in the titular role. This fall, a new adventure begins. Yeah, it was 30 years ago. The original movie released in 1988, directed by Ron Howard with the story by George Lucas. They did some book sequels that were really interesting. Chris Claremont wrote them. I read the first one. I know I liked that one, but I don't remember the other two. I did read most of them, I think. I know I read the second one, but I don't remember if I finished the third one. Warwick Davis plays Willow Umpgood, a reluctant farmer who plays a critical role in protecting a special baby from a tyrannical queen who vows to destroy her and take over the world. The new series is said to follow a group on a mission to save a kidnapped prince. The series also stars Ellie Bamber, Ruby Cruz, Aaron Kellyman, Amar Chadha Patel, and Tony Ravioli from Marvel's Spider-Man movies. Sounds very multi-ethnic. So you'll hit all the Burger King Kids Club markers. Disney describes the series as Willow from Lucasfilm, set decades after Ron Howard's 1988 movie. Well, I hope it doesn't take a week and he ages super fast. Continues the spirit of adventure, heroics, and humor of the original film. The new series debuting on Disney Plus in 2022. Warwick Davis will return in the role as the Great Sorcerer, Willow Ufgood, with John Chu, director of the groundbreaking Crazy Rich Asians, directing the pilot episode. There's a link here to there's the Burger King Kids Club looking all ethnic and whatnot. That's the look I make when I hear about the casting choices for some of these movies. So I'll probably watch this because I liked the original, but so much of this crap is just tiresome, especially because Lucasfilm is garbage. And I don't really want to see them shit all over yet another good thing. So I don't know. I don't know what to think of that. I'm just so tired of these lazy sequels that are just more nonsense. Of course, Atheist. Of course. Better Call Saul season 6. No, I saw like 4 episodes of the first season, and got rid of my cable after that because it got too expensive. So I was like, man, I'm never watching this again. Everything is tiresome, Eagle. I'm getting way more bitter than my dad. My dad just discovered Criminal Minds like 6 months ago, and he hasn't stopped watching it. He watches Law and Order now too, which he used to hate. But everything is, all the new stuff is just, it's just boring. Boring, political driven nonsense. And I don't want that in entertainment. So I've been watching a lot more like low budget horror films, and I got one called Seagull that looked pretty fun for $1.25, I think it was, at the Dollar Tree. So yeah, I don't know. There's just so much boring crap out there now. It's hard to really get excited about any of this new trash. But let's talk about The Flash again. Because Sasha Calle is honored about Supergirl representation. Because this is Supergirl now, guys. Forget that blonde bimbo. She's an evil wardy. We've got to have a Latinx in there. Sasha, she's cute, don't get me wrong, but that's not Supergirl. Sasha Calle is playing Supergirl in The Flash. In a new interview, the actress says she feels honored in regards to the representation of being the first Latina version of the character. No wonder they went through 45 writers. Representation in the entertainment industry really matters. I'm super honored, honestly, to be the first Latina Supergirl. I think you meant Latinx. X. There was a moment when we were shooting when Andy, the director, was like, hey, come over here and watch this scene on the playback monitor. And I go over and I see her, Supergirl, and she's in her full glory. And suddenly I got really emotional because I'm looking at that. I'm like, wow, I wish I could have had this when I was little. It meant a lot to me. I turned into child Sasha watching this person on the screen. So it's really important. And I'm really happy and really thankful to DC and Warner Brothers for doing this now. It's so cool that we're doing this. And, you know, it's about time. So you're happy about erasing a white person? That's an interesting take. You want to wear a, brown face? Because Supergirl's still a blonde white girl. That's what everybody knows her as. This is just so stupid. I don't believe that it has been officially said if Sasha Calle is playing Kara Zor-El version of the character, who in the comics is known for having fair skin and long blonde hair, but there is a version in the comics who more resembles Sasha Calle with Sir-El, a time-traveling version of Supergirl who is brought to the past from the distant future, and who was thought to be at first to be the daughter of Superman and Lois Lane, but was actually created by none other than Brainiac. Rumors have also offered the Sasha Calle Supergirl is being brought in to replace Henry Cavill Superman, and that the actress and the character will be part of a new all-female DC Trinity. That would not surprise me. But with the merger of Warner Discovery, this might not happen. Also made up of Gal Gadot Wonder Woman and Leslie Grace Batgirl. And that Wonder Woman 3 will be a girl power movie featuring Sasha Calle, Supergirl, and Hawkgirl. That would not surprise me either. Hawkgirl's probably going to be in the Black Adam movie because they're having a they cast a black guy as Hawkman, but I don't know what period that takes place in it, because if it's ancient Egypt, that would make sense. Footage from the Flash movie recently debuted at CinemaCon, where the trades mistakenly described Sasha Calle, Supergirl, as a boy, so we can guess the VFX still need to be worked on for the flick. That is not a flattering picture at all. She looks really fat right there. And she looks like she's got shelf ass, but that's the harness thing for the flying apparatus. While the official Supergirl reveal is yet to happen, the look of the costume has been officially revealed, which does look a lot like Henry Cavill's Superman costume, and set photos have also revealed Sasha Calle in action. See below. So I have no faith in this movie at all. They're going to make this Kara. I would put money on it. Probably Frosted. They got to remember, you always have to double down on your villainy. Thanks, Assassin. Gorin Star Wars. Good luck with that. G-Wine. Still not as hot as Ursa from Superman 2. Yeah, I'll give you that. At least working at Disney Marvel is better than being in a DC TV show. How sad is that? Supergirl flavored kisses. Yeah, I don't know. This inclusivity shit is lazy. Just make some new characters, you fucking babies. All right, let's do the Batman story and get that nonsense over with. Because that really pissed me off. All right. So this is from Bounding into Comics. Batman Fortress writer Gary Whitta defends Batman fleeing from Antifa and Black Lives Matter style riots. Now, as it happens, I read this book today. I have it right here in front of me. And the review was 15 minutes long. So that should tell you a little bit of something. Batman Fortress writer Gary Whitta recently defended the first issue of his series where he depicts Batman fleeing from Antifa and Black Lives Matter style rioters. That's not exactly what happens, but that book has way bigger issues. In the first issue, Batman is called on to protect Gotham City during a massive global blackout that has shut down the energy grid. And this writer has no concept of how energy grids work. It's very obvious he did zero research. Wreaked havoc on communication networks and freed the prisoners of Arkham Asylum in a very lazy way. His first stop in a rooftop overlooking an electronics store being looted and connecting buildings that appeared to be apartment buildings going up in flames as rioters armed with blunt objects storm the street. That's accurate. Batman decides not to intervene, rationalizing in an internal monologue, "Haven't seen a night like this in a while. Last time it was this bad was that damn fear gas in the water supply. Only so much I can do. Need to prioritize. Hunt the big fish. Protect the little fish. These places all have insurance. Not my job to protect their profit margins. In my father's day, the American dream used to mean something. An honest wage for honest work. Food on the table. Liberty and justice for all. Now it's an illusion. A carrot on a stick. Attainable by a few, dangled just out of reach for everyone else. A bigger TV, a faster car, shiny objects to keep the masses distracted while the world burns. You want to blame them for grabbing the carrot when the lights go out? Go ahead, but don't look at me to stop them. That's not why I do this. No, you do this because people get hurt in these fires, and small businesses are going to suffer, and all these people are going to go out of work. Plus, you don't know if anybody's in these buildings being hurt by these angry rioters who are magically all white hillbilly looking types. Apparently Gotham City has a very large trailer department that nobody knows about. So he just ignores all these fires and looters in total Batman fashion, because that's exactly what Batman does, right? I was very angry when I read this. And this isn't even the most egregious part. It's because the person writing this has no concept of how things work. Like, they talk about the grid going down, and Gotham is draped in darkness, right? But they do mention that the generators still work. So the power generators are still working, but everything's blacked out, which means the police department doesn't have a generator. Apparently, hospitals don't have generators. And these guys try and break in Wayne Manor, and what's he do? He knocks them all out, and he throws them in his panic room. That made no sense. That's the safest place they could be. Good luck getting them out of there. Also, what else happened in here that was really stupid? To turn on the bat signal, which they leave on the entire time they're talking to Batman. I'm totally ruining my review. Watch it anyway to be up later in the week. To turn on the bat signal, they go down and take batteries out of police cars instead of using the generator, which they probably have. Because almost every major city has emergency preparedness guidelines for something like this happening. Ever since the 2005 power outage over the Eastern Seaboard, which is where Gotham is supposed to be located, is on the Eastern Seaboard. Roughly Maryland area, Virginia, somewhere in there. They never really say. But emergency management after 9/11 and the power outage taught people that they need to have some off-grid stuff like power generators, gas generators, electric generators, that sort of thing that run off the batteries. Not to mention solar panels would still work and wind turbines would still work. When the power grid went down, I was living in a city that had some wind generators, those turbines, and my neighborhood still had power. So there's also places you could go during one of these power outages that will still have powers. There's designated locations that people have labeled, usually like libraries and churches, stuff like that, that have their own generators. So there would still be some power, but they treat it like everything is completely destroyed. And they even say that the police car radios won't work, which isn't true. So that was dumb. And the 911 power grid is supposed to be down too. So what good is the cops in this city? Because even shitty cities have these things in place. Gotham could be brought to its knees by a moderate blizzard. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Roger. He's an Antifa sympathizer. Yeah, it's based off of New York City, but there is a New York City in D.C., so it's more like a Baltimore, New York pastiche. Quick, Alfred, get the bat right. Batman still has a satellite that works. So he mentions that he's got 3 satellites. 2 of them are in the upper atmosphere or wherever normal satellites are, and then there's one a little further out. Well, if he's got a satellite working, chances are a lot of governments still do as well, but that's never mentioned. So Batman has the only functional satellite. Plus, this blackout thing is actually done by an alien ship, but it took a while to shut down the rest of the world. And he didn't make any effort to contact other cities like that were still up and running, because they said some of the cities that were shut down late. See if I can find it real quick, because this actually really made me mad. Power grids in Lisbon. So Ralph getting beat up over there. Ethan Ralph getting beat up would still happen in Lisbon. Santiago and Karachi were the last ones to go down. So he still could have communicated with them via his satellite and tried to get information from their news sources. But no, he didn't do any of that. And then he has to stop the Joker at one point from driving across Blackgate Bridge with a busload of kids. How would you stop the Joker driving a school bus? Maybe flatten the tires, something like that. No, he blinds the Joker with a laser pointer, a powerful laser pointer directed at the Joker, who's driving a school bus full of children. Not exactly a safe idea, especially because the school bus crashes into the edge of the bridge and almost goes over. So that was insanely reckless. It's like, you kidding me? These are so unlike Batman. None of these tactics made any sense. Fun fact, laser pointer is also effective on Catwoman. That's true, but in a different way. No logic, no critical reasoning. Yeah, it didn't even take like 5 minutes to look up what would happen in a power outage, like what city emergency planners come up with. Because there are a lot of facilities that have generators. Elementary schools have generators. You know, there are a shockingly large amount of public buildings that have their own generator systems that would be functional. So it's not like they'd be totally without resources here, but they make it sound like everything was. Plus, they said radio communication was disrupted, but then they're talking on cell phones at one point, even though they've already said that the cell phones aren't working because those towers are down. So there's a lot of weird contradictions, and I found that way more egregious than this ridiculously lazy Antifa thing that they had to ham-fistedly wedge in here. It really made me mad. The colorist did a really good job, though. And he stops Penguin, because they're the only two villains they really talk about in here. He stops the Penguin from drowning some random chick for no reason. They never talk about it. It's really, really dumb. This was a giant waste of $4. I had high hopes, too, because it sounded like it might be an interesting idea. But nope, it was really freaking lazy. Well, Batman decides not to interfere because there might be possibly bigger fish to fry and that insurance companies will cover the damage. He still leaves innocent citizens at risk. A lot of them, yes. Not only that, his decision also shows that he's a hypocrite, as earlier in the issue, Bruce Wayne and Alfred defend Wayne Manor from a couple of thieves who believed the home to be empty and decided to loot on their own. Yeah, the one guy mentions that he's got 5 kids, and Bruce is like, well, even though we just beat the shit out of these guys and they're going to jail for a while, let's take care of those kids. No, fuck that. They made their choices. When it defended this depraved and hypocritical depiction of Batman on Twitter, writing, any negative review I get from a right-wing critic who can't stomach the thought that Bruce Wayne might have a social conscience goes into my positive review file. Thanks for this. I didn't have a problem with that because everything else was so fucking stupid and poorly thought out. The stupid little Antifa thing was the least problem of the book. Widow would also add, I honestly didn't expect it to be that controversial, but some readers really didn't like the choice Batman made in Fortress Issue 1 to pass up putting a beat down on some people, stealing big screen TVs, and saving a busload of kidnapped school children. Instead, telling. He put those kids in more danger by blinding the vehicle's driver. He didn't even try and disable the vehicle. He's just like, I'll just blind the driver. You know it's illegal to do that to planes for a reason. You blind the driver with this powerful laser pointer, and you don't think that one of the kids might get hit by accident? You fucking that's irresponsible of the highest order. This guy's just a terrible writer. When his dismissal of the criticism as being unable to stomach the thought of Bruce Wayne might have a social conscience is an outright lie, given the entire criticism is that Bruce Wayne would actually stop people from committing crime. Yet, and by proxy, assist the people that were victims of that crime, like those small businesses that were being looted. Not only is it a lie, it's projection, because the criticism is that he removed the social conscience from Bruce Wayne by having him fleeing from rampaging criminals that are burning down the city, putting people's lives at risk. If Bruce Wayne truly had a social conscience, he wouldn't leave innocent civilians to the whims of a bloodthirsty, angry, firebomb-throwing mob. Not an unfair assessment. Even if you remove the fact that these Antifa-style writers are roaming the streets with blunt weapons and have firebombed a number of buildings, Whitted described Batman as defending his own home from theft earlier in the issue. Why would he randomly approve of it when they're stealing from someone else? Because the writer is probably a selfish person at heart and cares more about his stuff than other people's. It makes absolutely no sense. He won't be endorsing theft, looting, and rioting while at the same time defending his own home from theft. As for the brief commentary on consumerism about the bigger TV and faster car, I'm actually in agreement with that. Pussy. There are way more important priorities in life than desiring these temporal luxury items. That may be, but the way it was phrased was definitely agenda-driven. And Batman would clearly recognize that. That's why he would stop these rioters and looters from burning down the city and putting people's lives in danger. He wouldn't justify their actions and fly off in the hopes of finding more dangerous criminals to stop. Yeah, right here's an example of Detective 608 and Detective 609, when Anarchy did something very similar. As for his claims about Batman deciding to put a stop to Joker instead of the rioters burning down the city, the rationale doesn't make sense as Batman doesn't know about Joker and the bus full of kids. Exactly. Obviously, Whedon knows about that in his head, but Batman doesn't because his communications are down or being prioritized elsewhere. So does Batman get lucky? He runs into the Joker? Yes, but Batman won't leave crime that is happening in front of him in the hopes of finding other criminals and crimes being committed. He would put a stop to the crime that he knows is happening right then and there. Ironically, this argument was already addressed in the initial criticism that Whedon seemingly responded to, but didn't actually read. Imagine that. And look at the proportionality on this, too. Apparently, Plastic Man was impersonating the Joker that day. This is the front end of that school bus dangling over the river, by the way. So I think this guy's just taking it too personally that he didn't do any research and he didn't think this through, and the editor gave him zero guidance. And he's probably a pretty shit writer. But there was clearly agenda here. But the agenda seems to have been secondary to the bad writing and lack of research for the rest of the story. It really was unreadable because there's too many contradictions in there, too many things that don't match up, and it's just a shit book. I was really, really disappointed. Some of the art's not bad inside. This cover's pretty cool. This cover's okay, but I don't know if they got permission to use these photographs or not, because these are actual photographs that seem to have been touched up to make them a little less recognizable, probably from Antifa riots. But the story's just garbage. My review, which said all that, will be up probably the end of the week. Yeah, Frosted. Didn't take a gang leader out and tell the members they're now keeping the city safe and not destroying it. Not run and let the gang run amok. That was in The Dark Knight Returns. That's an alternate history book. There's a movie, I think, Batman v Superman animated version. Oh, I didn't see that one. It's not Batman's revisionist fan fiction. Yeah, this is bad fan fiction. Right-wing critic, come on, that's lazy. It's very lazy. It's almost like a built-in excuse for shit content. Exactly. This was just a really lazily written book. It's really, really disappointing. The Batman One Dark Knight issue 1 was really good. I haven't read issue 2 yet. It's an oversized book by a guy named Jock. I forget what his real name is. That's like the nickname he gave himself. That book was pretty good. Batman's escorting this guy with electrical powers. He's like a walking EMP. He has to escort him to Blackgate Prison, and things go horribly wrong. And Batman has to get across the city. It's like the book 16 Blocks meets the Warriors. But I got issue 2. I haven't read it. I think it's only 3 parts. So, yeah, that had me all fired up. So, stupid bullshit. It was more that the book was bad than the stupid Antifa thing. Because, of course, the guy's probably a lefty. Yeah, I would watch the One Dark Knight movie, Blackout, Superman's got limited resources, has to get this guy to the prison and go through a bunch of gang members. And there's a big bounty because if they take, this guy was a big gang leader. If they take him out, it'll be a vying for his territory. So I would watch that movie. It'd be way more interesting than a lot of the crap that's out now. Plus, it'd be really action-packed. But remember to hit the like button, share it on your social media, and subscribe if you haven't. If you're feeling generous, toss a couple bucks at the Streamlabs. All right, next story. Shin Ultraman's first week at the box office is ultra massive. This is from a couple days ago, 6 days ago. After only 8 days in Japanese theater, Hideki Anno's Shin Ultraman sells over 1 million tickets, making the movie an ultra box office smash. I wish my brother had stayed alive long enough to see this movie, because I think he would have loved it. Evangelion creator Hideki Anno's film Shin Ultraman has passed an impressive box office milestone. Over 1 million tickets have already been sold, according to Toho, the production company behind the film, after only 8 days in Japanese theaters. It's earned over 1.5 billion yen, approximately 12 million USD. As previously reported, the movie pulled in 993 million yen, about 8 million, during the first 3 days of release alone, which set new records for the Ultraman franchise and for Anno's Shin movie series. If you've seen Shin Godzilla, this similar kind of thing. It's a slight reimagining. The Ultraman franchise began with E.G. to Super Rio's live-action TV series, the same name, in 1966. One of the greatest monster fighting shows ever. I love that show. The character's gone on to become a global pop culture phenomenon, as he deserves, spawning decades worth of sequels, spin-offs, adaptations, and a massive merchandising empire that includes apparel, toys, and other kinds of collectibles. Shin Ultraman was directed by Shinji Higuchi, who helmed the 2 live-action Attack on Titan movies, written by Anno, who also wrote and co-directed its predecessor Shin Godzilla. The film stars Takumi Sato, who previously appeared in the live-action adaptation of Space Battleship Yamamoto, and Ace Attorney as the guy who becomes Ultraman. You mean Hayata? Other members of the cast include people whose names I can't pronounce, from stuff I haven't seen. Anno will follow up Shin Ultraman with Shin Kamen Rider, which is expected to make its debut in 2023 and will celebrate the 50th anniversary of the classic superhero franchise. Actor, something I can't pronounce, who previously appeared in 2016's Death Note, Light Up the New World, has been cast in the title role. He is joined by somebody from Let Me Eat Your Pancreas and Tatsuko Imuto of Anime Supremacy. If or when Shin Ultraman will receive an international or North American release is yet to be revealed. However, Tokusatsu fans outside of Japan can still stream Netflix's Ultraman anime. Not the same thing, not even as close to being good. But I would love to see this movie. The series functions as a direct sequel to the 1966 show, telling the story of Shinhiro Hayata, the son of the original Ultraman protagonist Shin Hayata, and ignores the events of all subsequent continuations of the franchise. Which is a shame, because there's some really awesome stuff in there, like Ultra 7. Fantastic. It's pretty. Oh, and what was the other one we watched? Ultraman Toro is very violent. Like, he gets his arm broken at one point. It's pretty messed up. It's produced by Production IC, Ghost in the Shell, and Sola Digital Arts. Lord of the Rings, War of Rohan, or Rohim, whatever. Rohrim, Raggy, There's some Scooby-Doo rimming action apparently. Netflix's Ultraman debuted its second season earlier this year that I don't care about because it's not as good. But I'm excited to see this movie. And I'm glad it's doing well because that means there's a chance for a sequel. So hopefully they do another Ultraman movie. I want to see this. We grew up with Ultraman TV show. And it was awesome. It's a bit of a letdown. This looks better. This looks way better. He's no Jet Jaguar. No, he's better. Talking about nerdy movies yesterday. Was 45 years since Smokey and the Bandit. So, wow. Sunday, a bunch of theaters will have a showing. Sadly, my Trans Am and I are both broke. I understand that feeling very, very well, Frank. I'm sorry you won't get to go, but you can always find an online copy, I'm sure, and stream it in celebration. All right, let's talk a little bit about Doctor Who, because I'm sure there's nobody really gives a shit, but there's some stuff going on, and not looking real good. So Bounding is reporting Russell T. Davies cannot redeem Doctor Who. This is by Slade Hale. With a name like that, you should be like a baseball player. Slade Hale coming in. A few months ago, news broke that the original Doctor Who reboot showrunner, Russell T Davies, would be making a triumphant return to the series and reclaim his former role as showrunner. For a brief moment, longtime Whovians, upset by the drop in quality of the latter Moffat years and the disastrous damage done by Chris Chibnall, felt somewhat excited. Don't worry, they pulled that rug out from under your feet. Remember when it was good, but with this guy? After all, surely the man who successfully brought Doctor Who back to the public consciousness would be the right choice to restore the show to its former glory. However, in the months since this announcement, it quickly became apparent that Davies has no intention of doing anything like that, but will instead traverse the path of doom that is radical identity politics. Davies' first order of business was to dump the show's lustrous history by slipping in a transgender actor named Yasmin Finney as Rose, obviously a reference to the original reboot companion played famously by Billie Piper. Billie Piper's so hot. I don't know why I find her so cute, but I do. Finney is a biological male who believes he is female, and Davies could not be happier with the casting decision. Yeah, no agenda here, guys. Is it really a shock, though, as Davies not only now just flipped his wig and decided to go full-bore identity politics? It's no secret that he injected Doctor Who with LGBT messaging as early as the first season back in 2005. Yet back then, nobody cared because not only were there very little in the ways of propagandizing, but the characters and stories were also great. Remember, he did introduce Jack Harkness. Was that his name? The guy from Torchwood. And he made out with the Doctor, and nobody cared because that's how the character was written. It wasn't ham-fisted nonsense. It made sense in the storyline. Davies' original run there was truly inclusive in a way that mimicked real-world dynamics. Exactly. Yeah, Captain Jack. Everyone could be part of Doctor Who, provided they got along with one another and accepted each other's preferences and proclivities. Wait till they start introducing like map characters and gross shit like that. However, the warning signs that Davies was heading down a dark directional path started to emerge years ago, not in Doctor Who, but rather its spin-off series Torchwood. I would agree with that. The show was okay, but there were definitely some signs that shit wasn't right. Though the show is extremely heavy-handed with gay and lesbian messaging, but its ratings still managed to balance itself out, solidifying Torchwood as an entertaining detour within Doctor Who's universe. What's sad is that show had a lot of potential, but they just killed off all the main characters except this kind of annoying chick. Then, hot on the heels of 2009's incredible and amazing Children of Earth miniseries, let's not get carried away, came 2011's Miracle Day. That show sucked. While fans expected Davies to produce a series with the same powerful messaging and tightly woven narrative as his previous works, it never came to pass. Instead, Miracle Day was a disaster, specifically because it took its eye off the story in the latter half of the series. Absolutely. The most obvious example of this stumble was the series' 7th episode, Immortal Sins. Rather than focus on the main plot about the entire planet of people that cannot die, it decided to propagandize loudly on the topic of being LGBTQ in the 1920s while also taking a convenient dump on organized religion. Yeah, it really went off the rails. This plot deviated so radically from the main narrative that it led audiences to experience an immediate and complete disconnect from the series. It failed to add anything to the plot and ultimately ended up derailing the last 3 episodes of the season. Yeah, it was a completely pointless episode where it was just agenda. Up to that point, Miracle Day was arguably quite focused and heading somewhere interesting. Let's not get carried away. But ultimately, Davies' inclusion of the subject was a calculated narrative risk that failed to pay off in any fashion. It looked like it was a thrown-together episode. A plausible theory suggests Davies may have been testing the waters to see just how far he could push the radically left agenda or narrative before the backlash ensued. He had pushed it pretty far up to that point. It was just such a ham-fistedly awful episode that had nothing to do with anything. That backlash did indeed come from Miracle Day, eventually damning the miniseries to a fate of awful reviews and poor critical audience reception. It was mediocre all the way around before that. It just made it worse in everybody's mind. I would actually say that about half the episodes were okay, the rest were dumb. Though this came as a shocker to some given the runaway success of Children of Earth, for others, it became clear that such extreme political propagandizing would always come at the expense of story and character development. Of course, It's just like having to hear about Bible quotes in the middle of a movie, a theme which has since become routine in today's major productions. In hindsight, the miniseries is arguably one of the first moments in pop culture history where radical identity politics kicked the door down and seized the soapbox with violent aggression. I would disagree. I think they did more of that in that stupid show Will and Grace. Not only that, but it was also one, if not perhaps the first time mainstream audiences, sadly unaware of it, were slowly metastasizing into the cancer that has since infected every corner of today's culture, had universally rejected wokeism. When news first came down the pipeline that Davies was set to reclaim the showrunner status on Doctor Who, I immediately predicted that nothing would change. Rather, I figured Davies, at the expense of Doctor Who's iconic lineage and historical canon, would no doubt soldier down the same path he helped create. Yeah, he set up a lot of this crap. Given that his childhood love for the show stands in direct contrast to his immediate predecessor's hatred of it, Davies may indeed try to retcon some of Chibnall's horrifically bad creative decisions. I doubt it. Look at the shit graphics, too. Like, that Ultraman movie probably has better graphics than this. However, there remains a significant risk that the heart and soul of Doctor Who will remain hijacked. If Russell and company keep writing stories that are accessible only to radical identity politics zealots, it's likely casual fans and moderate viewers will continue to find themselves alienated. Further, if Davies has already fooled himself into thinking that he can Further, if Davies had already fooled himself into thinking he can straddle the line and find some sort of common ground that appeals to everyone, he's soon to discover that's not possible. Political and social polarization have taken firm root and entrenched themselves in nearly every aspect of entertainment at this point, and what little does appeal to the social justice inclined is almost certain to be panned by everyone else. Yeah, they only want messaging. They don't give a crap about anything else. What's more, 2022 has been a disastrous year for the radical left on the entertainment front. Their ideology is finding itself on its back legs, as seen in Netflix purging itself of its woke programming and employees following a horrific stock drop, as well as Disney's remaining dead silent on the recent political issues following immense blowback and appropriate punishment from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. In fact, ostensibly at the desperate pleading behest of their PR departments, much of the woke corporate world has seen fit in recent months to quickly staple and duct tape their mouths shut on hot-button political issues rather than risk a scathing blowback from those who simply want their culture to once again be free of such blatant propagandizing. And that's really what it is the blatant propagandizing. The ham-fisted beat you over the head with it because they're such bad writers. To that end, one must ask, will Davies have a market for his newfound audience of woke adherents with this series debuts in 2023? I don't think it's going to do well. I think the first 2 episodes are probably going to be pretty well watched, and then it's going to tank because they're going to put more of this shit in there. Yeah, if he doesn't retcon the Timeless Child, you'll know right away that it's going to be garbage. Of course, it's also entirely possible that Davis manages to pull a rabbit out of his hat and somehow balance all these elements properly, in which case the 14th Doctor could be a glorious return to form. However, the chances of that happening are less than the producers permanently mothballing the Daleks for all time. In other words, they just can't help themselves. All said and done, this writer holds slim to none opinion that Davies 2005 is still with us and firing on all cylinders. In fact, I'd say it's just a jelly baby's chance in hell. So, yeah, I'm in agreement with a lot of what this writer said. Davies is not going to undo any of the bad shit. Don't produce a show for your audience. Don't be surprised when they fail to show up. Yeah, the audience has specific things. Yeah, I stopped caring after Tenet too. I liked some of Matt Smith, but it was really going off the rails then because it was getting silly and everything was cutesy. They gave everything cutesy little names. It was really obnoxious when they did that under Tenet. Like, if I hear the phrase timey-wimey off from a so-called Who fan again, I might lose my shit because it's fucking stupid. That's not Doctor Who. Doctor Who was science fiction, not cutesy, goofy, dumb crap. 14th Doctor could be the last if they blow it. I think they're going to blow it. They'll probably keep making this show for a few years, but I think they're going to fuck it up. Because I don't know if you saw the casting for the 14th Doctor, but here you go. Toby Stephens' Doctor Who rumored cut as part of Marvel-style universe. Here's our new Doctor, guys, right here. Right there. There you go. Dr. Super Gay. Following the recent casting announcements, a batch of rumors offer that English actor Toby Stephens was cut as the first choice to play the new Doctor Who, which involves Russell T Davies building a Marvel-style Whovian universe on the small screen. This guy looks more like Doctor Who. Casting. This guy looks like radical politics. The info comes from YouTuber Doomcock. That's reliable. Who also reveals details on Davies' plan said to involve numerous spin-off series. Doomcock has a very hit-and-miss rate. It's almost like some of it's made up. Regarding Toby Stephens, known for Netflix's Lost in Space, it said Nukti Gatwa was not Davis's first choice for the new Doctor to replace Jodie Whittaker, and that footage was actually shot with Stephens regenerating into the 14th Time Lord. Toby Stephens was going to be the Doctor since November, states Doomcock's source. Toby was the Doctor that Jodie regenerated to on screen. Compare the mouths with the new guy and Toby's and it will confirm. That's gross. Why are you doing that? I compare mouths? Doomcock claims the information comes from someone who was present when Jodie Whittaker's regeneration scene was shot, or from someone that has seen the raw footage from inside the BBC. Well, leak me that and then I'll believe you. It's also said that Sony Pictures TV who officially bought Davis's Bad Wolf production company last year, the company producing Doctor Who Season 14, wanted Toby Stephens in the role of the new Doctor because they have a good relationship with him. He stars in Alex Rider on Amazon Prime Video, pictured above. There. And that Davies agreed. Yes, the actor in question was supposed to be the Doctor. I'm finally a ginger was the first line after he screamed and regenerated. I explained the YouTuber, who has a following of nearly 300k subscribers. Like, that makes his information more reliable. Whatever. Toby was the one who was in the regeneration scene. Sony wanted him as he's under contract with them, and Russell liked him. However, the BBC, still wrestling for power, got the new black guy actor in the role, and Davies is just playing nice with them. That would be a dumb move on their part. It's further said that the casting of whatever that guy's name is as the new Doctor instead of Toby Stephens also means that reports Bad Wolf is in control of Doctor Who have been exaggerated. It's quite likely the case. It's also claimed Joe Martin's Doctor presents as the very first Doctor by Chibnall will be given a farewell appearance on Doctor Who, but that will be that. They will never refer to her again. I don't buy that. Joe Martin is the one that played the Timeless Child. She's the strong, independent black woman that don't need no man. That was the first Doctor. Now, that was the dumbest fucking retcon in show history. So it completely annihilated the Doctor's origin story. That he was just a Time Lord on the run. They destroyed the origin of the Time Lords and Doctor Who. But I have said several times, there's a way to fix that. If you take Jodie Whittaker's Doctor and explain that she is not actually the 13th Doctor, and that something went wrong during the regeneration, and it actually created two Doctors, and she is like a cast-off from regeneration, but the real Doctor's out there, and she's actually the Valeyard. Like, maybe she was a parasite inside of the Doctor's mind for hundreds of years and was now set free, but she was convinced she was the real Doctor. But her origin is actually that fugitive Doctor that they retconned in Timeless Child, and she was like similar to what the Master did in the Assassin episode of the Fourth Doctor show, where the Master was body stealing, and assuming that while he was on Gallifrey at one point, he accidentally came across this sarcophagus or something that had this Joe Martin's character in it, and it parasitically leached onto him and was stealing regeneration energy every time he regenerated, and it finally had enough to escape, and it stole his TARDIS. and became the Valley Yard. That would make more sense because that would also explain the nebulous Dark Doctor storyline of the Valley Yard that was presented in Trial of a Time Lord. And it would explain their connection between the Valley Yard and the Doctor, because she has a lot of his memories and thinks that she was him at one point before becoming the male Valley Yard we saw in Trial of a Time Lord. It would also explain a lot of her bitterness toward the Doctor and why she was trying to prosecute him. I want to watch any of the new stuff, but can't be disappointed. Yeah, that's true. It was bad. I can't write that book, Peter. I don't have the rights. But that's how I would fix it. It would be easily explained, because when the Master said to Jodie Whittaker's Doctor that she was actually this ancient being, he wouldn't have been lying. But she believes that it's the Doctor's origin, but it's really her origin as this being from another dimension that the Time Lords learned regeneration powers from. But that doesn't mean she's actually the Doctor. She just thinks she is, and eventually figures it out by running into the real Doctor when he comes to get his TARDIS back or whatever. You could easily fix it that way, and it would be a much more compelling science fiction story than any of the garbage they've been squirting out of their little buttholes over there. It's disgusting. All right, let's get on to the rumors here. Regarding what Russell T. Davies has planned, which is described as a Davies being the Kevin Feige of a Marvel-style Whovian universe, something Davies' previous Who universe has been compared to and described as. That's dumb. All of the Doctor Who universe is effectively that. It's said that Sony wants to rival Disney's small screen verse Disney has for Marvel, and it's said to be in the following things. Torchwood Spin-Off. Davies is planning doing a Torchwood Spin-Off with none of the Captain Jack. John Barrowman is too fucking old for that, all right? He's supposed to be a non-aging person. The dude is clearly like my age. The series said to be set in stone and definitely happening, and that it was announced around the 60th anniversary special, assuming there was no contract issues. Cast somebody else to play Captain Jack, all right? Torchwood, they killed off all the characters except the one chick. And they had a lot of potentially interesting storylines with those characters. They just blew it. Paranormal show, another series set to be done deal, is that Davies is reportedly pitching is a paranormal detective show starring K9 and Ace, who will be investigating various ghostly and otherworldly events, possibly aimed at kids, which is very similar to what they did with Sarah Jane Smith, the Sarah Jane Smith Adventures, where she would go around with K9. Unfortunately, the actress that played Sarah Jane Smith passed away from cancer a few years ago, and that show ended very abruptly because of it. And Ace is looking pretty rough these days. Animated miniseries. Set of Doctor Who animated miniseries is in the work if Davies has his way involving past Doctors, with only the 7th Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, and Paul McGann presently confirmed. That could be really good. They could do a lot of crossovers with those, because you could take old audio from the other Doctors and do the computer magic to make them have crossovers and stuff. I'd watch an animated show. Rose Tyler series. The biggest of the projects is claimed to be a spin-off TV series for Rose. That could be interesting. An alternate universe storyline where she's having adventures, and they could get David Tennant back. The rumor offers Russell T. Davies is very keen to do a Rose TV series based on the novel he wrote after his departure from the show. The show is believed to be happening wholeheartedly and is said to be a passion project that brought back Davis to be showrunner on Doctor Who. Regardless who is playing Rose, as recently saw the announcement that transgender actress Yasmin Finney has joined the cast of season 14. Doomcock thinks Davies is going with the original actress Billie Piper, as Davies loves the character of Rose and thinks he'll be faithful to his vision of her, which is played by Piper. Yeah, they could set it a few years down the line when her and the David Tennant character, who is not a Time Lord anymore, are stuck in that alternate universe fighting the Cybermen. That could be pretty interesting. I still want them to bring the original Cybermen from Mondas back, because the Cybermen are fucking awesome. And the newer ones are kind of lame. Regarding the Yasmin Finney Rose, similar to my own thinking, the YouTuber thinks Yasmin Finney will be playing a multiverse version of Rose Tyler, probably, which is kind of dumb. But I don't know what they're going to do. There is confirmation that David Tennant and the chick that played Donna Noble are coming back. For what reason? If it's a miniseries, probably a Christmas episode. That could be interesting. I think this guy's going to be a disaster, and it's going to be a lot more woke crap. Should have went with this guy. He looks a little bit more ruggedly British. Hey, Monkey, how's it going, man? Jack isn't getting paid to fix it, and he has. I came up with that idea real early on when I first heard about The Timeless Child, and nobody listens to me. I like that cartoon idea. I do too. I think that's the best thing because the audiobooks were really, really good. And if they could just make animated TV series, and you can have a lot more going on because the budget's unlimited. All right, let's talk about Power Rangers. I know there's some Power Rangers fans. Captain Jack will get you high tonight. Maybe. All right, over Bounding. Boom Studios Power Rangers series to introduce new Death Ranger. Creator Paul Aller confirms villains' entire species are non-binary. Oh boy! Non-binary, guys. They're non-binary. And the build-up to the 100th collective issue of what many may become one of the last redeemable Western series currently on the shelves, Boom Studios has announced their Power Rangers continuity will soon see the introduction of a new threat to the Mighty Morphin Grid in the form of the Death Ranger, a fallen hero who hails from an entire species of non-binary aliens. Well, at least he's a bad guy, so that's accurate. Set to debut in the upcoming Power Rangers Unlimited, the Death Ranger one-shot from writer Paul Aller. Power Rangers: The Psychopath. I haven't read that. And Power Ranger covers by people. I don't fucking care. Holds an unearthly secret that may spell doom for everyone in the Morphin Grid. The legendary Omega Rangers defended the universe from evil thousands of years ago, the 6 of them using their elemental powers to protect others from sinister forces, reads the official teaser from Boom. But that all changed when one key member became seduced by the death-defying powers of the Rangers' greatest foe. Bad writing. It adds, how does this Ranger connect to what's locked in the mysterious Omega Vault in Safe Haven so many millennia later, as everything converges in the milestone comic book Charge to 100. This event, says Boom, will unfold in the upcoming issues of Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers. Those are 2 separate series. Along with special one-shots as the Power Rangers and Omega Rangers join forces with some familiar galactic faces to battle a terrifying new cosmic threat that's arising from the depths to threaten every living thing in existence. Yeah, supposedly this big event of issue 100 is going to have all the Power Rangers in it. So all the surviving ones are going to make an appearance. We have other Power Ranger news, though, so don't get too excited. We're continuing the epic Charge to 100 with a new type of Ranger we've never encountered before, exclaimed Boom Studios senior editor Daphne Plebin in an official press release. Just like the introduction of fan favorites Lord Draken, the Ranger Slayer, and countless other characters who've taken on a life of their own, it's time to meet a dark and ominous figure from the ancient recesses of Morphin history, the Death Ranger. Yeah, these characters were introduced a couple years ago in the Shattered Grid and Necessary Evil storylines. The Death Ranger one-shot will feature main cover art, but I don't fucking care. So this picture looks pretty cool. Though Boom themselves made no mention of the character's gender in his official reveal, the Death Ranger was separately confirmed by Allor on Twitter to be non-binary. In response to one particular tweet wherein a fan pronouncing a sexual fantasy about the Death Ranger used the pronouns him in reference to the villain, Allor asserted, the Death Ranger's pronouns are they, them, as is the case with their entire race, but otherwise, yes, appropriate response. George, you can't breed. You're a dude. Sorry to break that to you, George, buddy. The Death Ranger's first confrontation with the latest incarnation of the Omega Rangers, whose ranks were recently revived by former Rangers Jason, Zach, and Trini, hit shelves in August 2022. So this is one of the reasons I'm dropping Power Rangers, because this is fucking dumb. It's lazy. It's boring. Nothing original there. pass on Power Rangers. The Power Rangers have actually been pretty consistently good, and that's why this is so pathetic. All right, only 3 more articles to go, guys. The fans will tune out. They absolutely will. That's one of the reasons Power Ranger books have been selling, is because they've avoided a lot of this nonsense. I think they made Billy gay. I don't remember. But the actor was gay, so they had to, I guess. Whatever. Stupid. But introducing non-binary characters, sure way to tank your sales. New series Star Wars Skeleton Crew starring Jude Law announced. Previous rumor indicated Lucasfilm was looking for a non-binary child for the show. Is that just to sacrifice to the dark gods of Disney for their LGBTQ cred? Because why? Lucasfilm and Star Wars announced Star Wars Skeleton Crew, a new Disney Plus series, on the first day of Star Wars Celebration. This is from a couple days ago. In a press release recapping the first day of Star Wars Celebration, Walt Disney Studios revealed that creators John Watts and Christopher Ford are teaming up with Favreau and Filoni to create Star Wars Skeleton Crew starring Jude Law. The series takes place in the New Republic and follows a group of kids lost in the Star Wars galaxy trying to find their home. And probably lots of gay sex. The official Star Wars Twitter account announced Star Wars Skeleton Crew starring Jude Law will from executive producer John Watts, Christopher Ford, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni, and streaming in 2023 only on Disney Plus. Ford and Watts discussed the show after they were brought on stage by Favreau and Filoni. Watts said, "We really like the opportunity of using kids to give you a slightly different perspective on the Star Wars universe, to see the galaxy through a different pair of eyes." Did they do this with those stupid Ewok movies with Wilford Brimley and his diabetes? The ones that flopped really bad because they were TV movies. Yeah, this is going to be great. Skeleton Crew sounds more like it's like a dying Space Hulk freighter with like barely any crewmen on it, and they're having like smuggling spice and shit. That would have been more interesting. Instead, it's about a bunch of kids and Jude Law. So it sounds like is he their teacher? Is he going to touch them? I don't know. This sounds fucking dumb. The series was previously detailed in a lengthy piece by Vanity Fair, where it was referred to by its codename Grammar Rodeo. Well, that sounds as exciting, quite frankly. Vanity Fair explained the codename was in reference to an episode of The Simpsons in which Bart and his schoolmates steal a car and run away for a week using a phony educational event as an alibi. The outlet also revealed the show would take place after Return of the Jedi, and that Lucasfilm was looking to cast 4 children for the series between the ages of 11 and 12. They also described it as a galactic version of a classic Amblin coming-of-age adventure film of the 80s. You're slapping the 80s in the face with this nonsense. If they actually made it like an 80s movie, that would be fun, but it's not going to be, and we all know it. While Vanity Fair confirmed the existence of the series, rumors had circulated about its existence for quite a bit. The Illuminati detailed casting calls for 4 children codenamed Wyatt, Ned, Faye, and Kylie back in February. Wyatt is described as a character who yearns for great adventures but finds his attention easily diverted. He wishes to be the hero in any situation he finds himself in. Casting call was looking for a boy of any ethnicity to play him. Ned is described as Wyatt's bashful best friend. He's also kind with a massive heart, but tends to be a rules follower. Generic. Looking for a boy of any ethnicity to play him. These are generic characters. As for Faye, Illuminati details she's rebellious and extroverted because she's got girl power. But at 12 years old, they already have a chip on their shoulder. The outlet claims Lucasfilm was looking to cast a young actress or non-binary actor of any ethnicity to play. Finally, the Illuminati detailed Kylie, who is described as serious, intelligent, and keeps her emotions guarded behind a wall. They're looking for a 12-year-old girl of any ethnicity. These are the most generic character types I've ever heard. Like, there's no depth to them. They're like the Scooby-Doo gang. Do they have a wacky robot, too? I bet they have a wacky robot. And Jude Law is like their computer voice dad, who's like their Zordon. And it's like, oh, kids, you shouldn't do that. And they're like, but we're wacky and adventurous. This sounds fucking stupid. Favreau is getting fatter. Yeah, you're not wrong, Straight Sith Male. Man, that book pissed me off. Batman Fortress, don't buy it. It's a waste of money. Sounds like every tween show ever. Yeah, it sounds like everything on Disney and Nickelodeon. Oh, thank you, Frosted Glass. My friend and I saw the last Power Rangers movie purely out of nostalgia. He was on the phone before we left, and I convinced him to say, I gotta go, it's morphin' time. Then I laughed and called him a F word. No regrets. Worth it. Didn't they do a couple of Werewolf Ginger Snap movies? Yes, and those, as I recall, were pretty amusing. Yeah, I don't know. The Star Wars stuff's getting dumber and dumber. I'm not going to watch that shit. All right, two left. Thank you, Frosted. Always trying to get me in trouble. I almost said the word, too. That would have got me in a lot of trouble. Over at CBR, Superman writer addresses fans' perceived Action Comics colonialism pushback. Look at that colonizer with his big S colonizing stuff. That's all right. They killed him off a few issues ago in Justice League 75. So that his big gay son could be the big gay Superman of all the universe. Writer Philip Kennedy Johnson took to Twitter to address some fans' perceived pushback about colonialism in the current Action Comics run. Johnson wrote a thread clarifying his take on Superman in the War World Saga crossover story arc. By the way, that story is basically like Superman's World War Hulk. It's really lame. There is some noise earlier about hashtag Superman being a colonizer, War World being Iraq in current Action Comics. I'm confident readers already know that's untrue, but with all the ruckus that followed, I think it's worth a few minutes to talk about what Action really is. Also, tons of people have been super supportive today, but sincerely, there's absolutely no need to pile on anyone. Yeah, that'll stop them. I'm just taking a moment to clarify my take on Superman and Action Comics. I'd like us all to walk away friends, as long as you all agree with me. Hashtag what would Superman do? He would melt the hearts of my enemies. He continued, this isn't just about today, but FYI, saying comments like those expose an almost cartoonish bias regarding my work. Yes, I'm currently active duty, but even if your assumptions about my views are not wrong, I don't use my work as a delivery system for that stuff. I'm a storyteller. Let's not get carried away, Phil. Regarding or hearing that I am a soldier and then proclaiming on Twitter that my work is problematic, dropping little consider the writer comments, making super simplistic and reachy parallels, etc. Don't say reachy. Get over yourself. It is not thoughtful, progressive move that you think it is. Well over 1 million of us in the U.S. Armed Forces. If you think we all have the same values, I don't know what to say to you. It is an extremely large and extremely diverse group. The people I work with directly every week are women, men, gay, straight, non-binary, trans, all ethnicities, read and pray and love and vote every kind of way. If you read Active Duty Army and think you've got me figured out, you are big wrong. You are a writer. You got me big wrong. You're big wrong. God. Grow up. Go outside. Active Duty. Where are you active duty stationed in? Canada? Action Comics has nothing to do with my or your feelings on U.S. or global politics. Maybe. After further citing his work on Empire Captain America, Johnson said, even though Action Comics War World Saga has nothing to do with politics or the army, I admit it was inspired by real-life events, although weirdly, I didn't realize it until I was pretty deep into it. How did you not realize that? The culture that Mongol had built on Warworld was heavily inspired by what I've seen doing anti-human trafficking work in Baltimore. That's odd. Okay. As most creatives can assess, the things you care about tend to come out in your work, intentionally or not. Well, it depends how bad of a writer you are. Some subtlety needs to be in there. He went on to explain how a huge aspect of the War World Saga is people being in chains and imprisoned. Anti-human trafficking work is insanely hard and frustrating because the victims don't want your help, or at least not at first. You work hard, you fill your head to bursting with painful information, you try to find people, and for months it feels like you're not doing a bit of good for anyone. That's what War World Saga is about. Mongols' war zones and most of the other slaves on War World hate Superman, but they're not the enemy. They're the reason he's there. Mongol alone is the enemy and they're all fighting him. Johnson concluded. We, my co-creators, editorial, and me are telling a story we care so deeply about, and I don't want it misrepresented. As always, monumental thanks to all the readers who have been so supportive of the book the whole time. Please keep spreading the word. It's always deeply appreciated. Now, the issue really isn't that the Superman character is some sort of colonialist, because he's there to liberate slaves and be a hero, supposedly. It's that it's boring and it's basically World War Hulk. And it was a lazy reason to get Superman off Earth so that they could have Super Nancy Boy, do be the real Superman. It's just lazy writing. Army's as woke as Twitter. Yeah, I mean, I bet he went to a lot of pride marches and that moved him up in the ranks. I heard they're doing a Masters of the Universe theme park. Sounds kind of DOA. It probably will be, but I'd go to that. That'd be cool. You ever rolled your eyes so hard it hurt? Yeah, I read Batman Fortress issue 1. That was pretty fucking painful. All right, last story. And if you're a Power Rangers fan, buckle in, because Power Rangers actor Austin St. John charged with COVID-19 fraud. 90s actor who starred in the hit show Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, he's the Red Ranger, has been charged with perpetrating a scheme to defraud the U.S. government of CARES Act fund, according to the Department of Justice. Austin St. John, who played the Red Ranger on the show, which aired from 93 to 95, was one of 18 charged with filing fraudulent applications for loans from the Paycheck Protection Program and transferring them to the two ringleaders of the scheme. St. John, whose real name is Jason Geiger, allegedly obtained more than $400,000 in fraudulent PPP loans. That's not the YouTuber PPP. That is Paycheck Protection Program. And transferred them to a co-defendant, not for the purposes of using the loans as they were intended. Each of the defendants faces up to 20 years in prison, according to the DOJ. Do you think his cellmate will walk in and be like, "It's morphin' time, Jason"? The Justice Department named Michael Hill and Andrew Morgan as the alleged leaders of the scheme. Hill is alleged to have recruited co-conspirators to use an existing business or create a business to submit applications to obtain funding, according to the press release. Once enlisted, Moran is alleged to have assisted his co-conspirators with the application paperwork, including fabricating supporting documentation and submitting the application through the online portals. Court documents allege that St. John transferred $421,000 in fraudulently obtained PPP loans to Hill's bank account. In total, the defendants allegedly scammed the government out of $3.5 million. In a statement, St. John's lawyer says he pleaded not guilty. An indictment is not evidence of guilt, David Kletz, a lawyer representing St. John, said. All defendants are presumed innocent, and Mr. St. John intends to vigorously defend himself against the allegations. St. John reprised his role in several Power Ranger offshoots over the years, including most recently in a guest spot in the 2020 TV show Power Ranger Beast Morphers. The CARES Act was signed, whatever. He's accused of this. If he's smart, he's going to roll on his co-conspirators and take a sweet plea deal, because first one gets the best deal. I'm surprised you haven't covered the Power Rangers reunion movie that's going to be all woke, thanks to the guy that played Billy wanting it all woke. I haven't heard about it. I don't really know much about the Power Rangers. My nephew was a huge fan back in the 90s when he was a kid, but I really don't know about it, so I didn't even know that. But yeah, it's probably going to be all super woke. Oh, yeah, a crush on him? Nice. No, Mighty Morphin Power Bottom. Yeah, so bad news bears for him. That's not going to be good either. That could be really ugly. So, yep. More sad news. I didn't drop the links for all these, did I? There's that one. There's Super Colonizer. That Skeleton Crew show looks stupid. A lot of this stuff just looks so badly done. Like, the woke crap is just so boring. Power Rangers Chase to 100 might be good, but it's not binary nonsense. It's probably going to be stupid. Probably hurt sales pretty bad. Doctor Who looks like it's going to continue its downward spiral. Not a lot of hope out there for good quality entertainment. Hasbro's taking it to Netflix, so they'll want to change or cancel it now. Yeah, they're going to change it, then it'll get canceled due to low ratings. So, unfortunately, not a lot of really good news coming out, but there's still good entertainment out there. Just don't give up. And don't buy Batman Fortress because it was stupid. But the Shin Ultraman looks good. Hopefully that'll come over here. If not, I'll find a way to I'll have to sign up for my Japanese Amazon account and do that. Watch it that way, probably. But Margaret Atwood making an unburnable copy of The Handmaid's Tale was exactly the type of ludicrous crap I'm talking about. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap up there. Thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate the donations. It's greatly appreciated. Hopefully this show wasn't too depressing. You got to remember to just avoid supporting the garbage and start looking for good alternatives. Because they're out there. You just got to find them. You got to support them where they are. So thank you all for coming out. Have a great night. Do something exciting. And hopefully we will see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.